Good evening, everyone. What better way to celebrate Halloween than to purchase some houses and then sell them so you can buy more houses? House Flipper has been no stranger to crossover DLC, though it's certainly been overshadowed by all the collaborations that Power Wash Simulator has had. But Scooby-Doo is a multimedia crossover that just makes sense the more you think about it. A lot of the villains in Scooby-Doo episodes just want to scare tourists away from areas and lower real estate costs. So how does this crossover work, and how authentic is it to the source material? Let's dig in. For those who haven't played House Flipper 1 and 2, I can give a brief overview as you watch me work on a couple of houses. For a while, simulator games were pretty damn mediocre, just cobbled together with threadbare material that barely holds together. I mean, to some extent that's still true, but I'd like to think that House Flipper set a standard that other simulators started trying to replicate and build from. There was still a bit of crust to that first one, having played through the whole campaign a few years ago, but it was still a lot more polished than its competitors. The general loop of both games involves taking on jobs from emails and fixing houses up to your client's specifications, and then later buying houses and remodeling them to your creative desires and selling them for a huge profit. So you start off mostly just cleaning them, taking out the trash and scrubbing floors, and then later jobs give you more and more tools to work with, like a vacuum cleaner for sucking up tiny objects, a sledgehammer to demolish walls, and of course, a store to buy all the furniture your clients ask for. And between the two games, there's not much different in that regard. If you've played through the first game, there probably won't be anything that surprises you here. Each room has its own objectives to handle, and House Flipper 2 now calls each room a quest, but the end goal of reaching a certain completion percentage and then going further for 100% if you want to is still the same. If you need help finding a spot you missed, there is a detective vision sweep kind of ability, though I tried to avoid using that as much as possible. Not because I'm an elite epic gamer or whatever, but because I didn't want to rely too much on it. Now, anyone who has played simulators like these knows the agony of being at 99% and missing one pixel, so the detective vision comes in handy there, though I wish that these games would just get better at bridging the gap for you, because it definitely happens in House Flipper 2. You'll look around in a seemingly spotless room and activate the vision to see the remnant of a footprint you cleaned all but 1 millimeter of. At least in this game, they number the amount of targets for each tool in each room, the number of items to sell and to buy, so that helps take some of the guesswork out of it. As for how the tools operate in House Flipper 2 over the original, several of them have definitely been improved. Paving walls and floors with tiling or wall paneling is a lot more frictionless, and you can unlock the ability to click and drag in a line. You can increase the size of your sledgehammer's destructive radius, or the size of your paint roller by picking perks whenever they level up. There are some changes to how the tools actually work, like painting walls is a lot more manual this time, but whether that's an improvement will come down to personal taste. I want to remark on the performance though, because I played on the Steam Deck, and as you're seeing, it's not the prettiest experience. Operating under 30 frames per second often, with all the settings tuned to low, and using FSR upscaling, it just does not look great. This may just be a failure of art direction, but still, what is with modern PC games all looking and running like ass compared to games from 10 years ago? Any number of them, like BioShock, Alice Madness Returns, Sleeping Dogs, Darksiders 2, Enslaved, all that stuff looks so much better on cruder technology. And it's not a AAA budget thing. I'm not asking for House Flipper 2 to render an entire open world. I'd just like to be able to walk through a single house at native resolution with relatively decent lighting and smooth performance. And I don't know, does this game really need the power of Unreal Engine 5? I'm sure some savvy dev will hop in the comments to explain, oh, it makes workflows better or something. I don't know. That's my rant though. Bring back UE3! Anyway, let's talk about the DLC now. You should know off the bat that you can't access it immediately off a new save. It requires that you have all of the tools unlocked, which will take you about 6 hours worth of jobs to reach, so keep that in mind if you haven't bought the base game, which itself is pretty pricey even at sales time. The first job takes you to this abandoned beachside haunted house, which is what I'll be showing footage from at first. You get told there's rumors of a ghost, there's some spooky sounds coming from the attic, but otherwise, you'll be cleaning it up and restoring it like any other house. I appreciate that the decor chosen by the game is all 60s mod style with a few prop exceptions. No chonker of a CRT TV to install here. Now, I wasn't expecting any grand deviation from the gameplay with this crossover, aside from one aspect I'll talk about in a minute. Certainly, the Power Wash Simulator crossover stayed within the parameters of the base game as well, but they did manage to make most of them feel like you stepped into the worlds of the various properties. Does the Scooby-Doo DLC do the same? I would say sorta barely. Given the Scooby Gang's propensity for traveling, you can't really send the Flipper to some licensed location, so all 6 jobs take place in the usual town, but there is a narrative taking place across these jobs where a Scooby-Doo episode is basically happening in the background, a person in a monster costume scaring the townspeople and causing mayhem that you have to clean up after. Now, I should mention that 3 of the jobs are not actually houses. One's a diner, another is a museum, and there's also a festival space made out of shipping containers so they can get some Hex Girls references in there. And that does kind of feel more like Power Wash Simulator's territory, right? Cleaning a museum is not really a house flipping project, but I don't mind the variety of it, and I got the sense that Frozen District really cared and put a lot of work into designing these spaces, the highlight of which is the final assignment in which you turn an abandoned building into a proper haunted house experience. But could the brand be better integrated? Absolutely. It was kind of shocking to me that only one job has any dialogue from Mystery Incorporated, a phone call you get from Shaggy and Scooby at the diner, while the rest is just email text from the other characters when you pick your level. No spoken dialogue from Fred, Daphne, or Velma, no music from the show, even the famous unmasking happens off screen. Now, maybe there were limits to what they could do in that engine, but I still see the missed opportunities here. The actual in-game integration then is limited to some neon and LED signs of the characters you can put up, some monster statues that growl when you activate them, those are cute, and furniture patterns inspired by the show. So it's there, but I think they could have gone further with it. Is all of this worth buying then? The base game is $40 and the Scooby DLC is $15. And this game's pretty DLC crazy as well. The original had 8 different DLC packs, and it looks like House Flipper 2 is going to follow the same blueprint, including some of those same DLC, but without being backwards compatible, so you'll have to double dip, and I don't find that super savory. Both games are listed at the same length on how long to beat, so you can decide if having new jobs and improved tools is worth diving in for. As for Mystery Incorporated, the Scooby DLC is substantial and will run you about a dozen hours, so I don't have any real qualms with the price, but I do wish there was more voice acting or an animated cutscene or something. You just get these fun portraits at the loading screens. It's cozy and enjoyable, but Scooby-Doo Where Are You shouldn't be a question I have to literally ask while playing. Thanks everyone for watching. This is going to be the new style of video for a while. I'll have a video out soon that will explain the reason for this more laid-back approach. It just ironically keeps getting pushed back because I'm busy with animation and other things. But I'll keep on talking about indie games because I like them just too dang much. If you like indie games too, click like, click subscribe, click the bell, click some cookies, click at random parts of the screen. Maybe you'll find YouTube's secret section. Thanks to my indie darlings over on Patreon: Tyler McBride, Game Trekker, Rob Ska, Thumpus, and Tony Domenico, and my lone but certainly not lonely channel member Glornch. Until next time, you'll find me in another castle.